Hi guys, welcome to Babe Talks, a podcast about life and all its experiences. Oh Uganda, happy Independence Day Uganda. Woo! I had recently stopped keeping track of how old we are as a country, but for the sake of this podcast, I had to calculate, and I realized we are 62 years. But Nang, when did we get here? This Father Lord has brought us, Ebenezer. So today, I saw something on very many people's status, and then I posted it on my status, but I found it quite funny. It says, no matter the mistakes you do in life, please don't send me happy Independence Day. Guys, abantu bako, we are tired. But it gets me thinking, why don't you want to be sent happy Independence Day? Is it because you just don't want to respond to the very many repetitive messages, or we actually don't feel independent? I don't know anyway. But how was your week? Mine was fine, and the fact that it's Independence Day today, it makes me just feel better. Like I'm at home, no work, just sleeping, and I'm like, yeah, we need a public holiday after every day. Like after Monday, public holiday. After Tuesday, public holiday, because life can kutwala you speed and even you start wondering. So since it's Independence Day, I decided that maybe we can talk about this, our Uganda. Oh, Uganda. I don't know if it's Uganda or Banage Uganda. The agony in the Anyway, Ugandans are in pain. Nowadays, they refer to Uganda as I've seen this meme around like some time back when people saying, when you find time to leave Uganda, just go, don't look back, and then the last person will switch off the lights. I feel like the sense of patriotism has reduced in Uganda. Speaking for myself particularly, I remember when I was young, specifically the 50-year celebration, I was so happy to belong. I was young. I think I was around P4, P5, P6, I don't know. But around there, I was so patriotic. I loved my country. But now, I'm somehow there. I'm not saying I'm not patriotic, but I am not as patriotic as I was before because of the things that have been happening in our country. Like when you grow up and realize that, things are not good at all. Like definitely a lot has been happening in this our nation. People are not happy. The poverty rates are high. The corruption, insecurity, violence. Guys, I can go on, but man, it's crazy. The injustice. Jesus Christ, he's the only one that can save us anyway. But you know what? It's so much that I even stopped watching news. I think about 2-3 years ago, I stopped watching news a long time ago so that I don't get heartbroken about what was happening and what is happening. So now when bad things happen, I don't really get to know like firsthand, and the heartbreak is less because I get to know like much later. I think that is my coping mechanism for what is happening in the country. I actually shared it with someone that I don't watch the news, and then she told me that if you don't want to get a heartbreak when watching the news, like you first watch these other you watch news from one station and then you switch to UBC, because in UBC, like, you'll see all the good things that are happening in Uganda. So she told me that her mom keeps switching from maybe NBS, Natekako UBC, you go to Bukede, you see the bad things happening. To console yourself, you run back to UBC and see the good things. UBC has like all the the progress that's happening in Uganda. And for her, like, that was like the coping mechanism, and to me it makes sense actually. So you keep switching in between UBC, NTV, UBC, Urban, UBC, you get like some consolation, otherwise you can fall and drop dead. So during a recent conversation again with the same person, I could see like her heart was bleeding for Uganda. She's like, things could be better, like we can do better as a nation. And I'm like, oh, you still have hope. Actually, it was more than one person who was saying, like, now, like other countries, we need to do better and like maybe copy a leaf from them. In my head, I'm like, Kalababa, no. Like, even if you wish, things cannot happen. But then they talked about being better, like for you can do better despite the things that are happening in the country. And I realized, like, right now we are growing up and we are the next people in what leadership positions. And actually we are leaders at our given positions right now. And as human beings, like, we can do better. For example, it starts by being a person of integrity. You're like, okay, I'm not going to engage in a bribery. Bribery, have I said it well? Anyway, yeah, you decide by saying, okay, I'm not going to litter rubbish, because it's the small things that accumulate and then become a whole mass of terrible things happening in our country. But first you decide, okay, when I have rubbish in the car, I'm not just going to throw the bottle after taking my soda. I'm going to keep it, and when I get there, I'm going to what dispose it in the right place. It's these small things. Or I'm not going to engage in corruption at my small level in my office or whatever, because that vice grows. Yeah, so by being better and doing better as we go up, we just hope that things can get better. Another thing is that we can decide that we are not going to deprive people of better services, just customer care. It's the small things. Looking at someone who is marginalized and you're like, you know what, I'm going to help where I can, instead of just being this other Uganda that we are talking about, the rude, the hopeless, and the mindless Uganda. So we definitely know that from individual it goes to community and then hopefully to a whole nation. Possibly we can see change in the whole nation. We just pray that it is possible, and we believe that it's actually possible. I don't know if you guys have seen this meme that says I fear corruption ending before I benefit from it. Like, that is how bad it is. And I'm like, guys, like, so this is where we have reached. And this is the young generation thinking like that. It's like everyone just wants to what? Benefit, because this is the norm that is happening. But if all of us say no, like we are fighting it, then we can possibly be better. Because if we continue with that mindset, chika. You may find people who are going to kusadaka us all in the name of money. Banange, leave us alone. Anyway, I hope and pray that our nation will flourish and that God will change the hearts of our people, including our leaders and all people in authority. 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 9 says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of him who called out of the darkness into this wonderful light." So as I end, I conclude by urging us to return and seek God's face as a nation, and I pray that he will heal our land. Goodbye, and see you on the next episode of Beep Talks. May God uphold thee.